Today we are visiting Death Valley National Park, which is the hottest place on Earth at a record temperature of 134 Fahrenheit. It's also the lowest elevation in North America, which sits 280 feet below sea level, and also is the driest place in the planet. We are visiting the Father Crowley Overlook. This overlook is named after Father John J. Crowley, a Catholic
This
priest
is a place
known
where
as the
military
Desert Padre.
aircraft will fly
In
low
1930
and
and
practice around this
1940,
area.
he provided aid, guidance, and spiritual support to miners and families living in the harsh Death Valley region. Here is a plaque to commemorate Father John Crowley. Father Crowley Overlook sits on the western edge of the Death Valley, high above the Rainbow Canyon. Why is it famous? This canyon is part of the U.S. military training route, known as the Star Wars Canyon. Pilots from U.S. Air Force fly through here to practice low-level, high-speed maneuvers. Jets often pass through the canyon at incredible low altitudes, sometimes just a few hundred feet off the ground, using the terrain to simulate real combat conditions. This is one of the best places in the world to safely watch military aircraft flying at full speed through the rugged terrain. Wow, the airplane disappeared in the clouds, and I think it's coming back around. It's coming back around. Yes, and when they appear, you usually hear them before you see them. The sound echoing off the canyon walls like a thunder. As I mentioned earlier, this is the driest place on Earth. Rain is a rare event here. Death Valley averages less than 2 inches of rain per year, and some years receive no rain at all. When rain does fall, it often comes as a sudden flash flood rather than gentle showers. We are visiting January 4th, so it is in the winter time. But if you're coming here in the summertime, make sure you drink lots of water because you could get dehydrated very easily. It has been raining a lot, so we were wondering what Death Valley will look like after it rained. Stopping a little bit for the general store ice cream. Flooded? Oh no, okay, wow.
Yeah, so that was on Town Pass.
Okay.
And then I was, did you get your picture?
The lady at the general store told us that Death Valley National Park was flooded and she was having a hard time driving to work because all the roads were flooded and the cars were underwater. This is my first time visiting Death Valley National Park, and it looks like there's a lot of water. Look, there's lots of water after the rain. The tour guide that we purchased was singing Johnny Cash's song.
You sing it?
The song was written by a park ranger for Johnny Cash.
We're at 2,000 feet elevation from 3,000 elevation. My ear is popping.
Ever walked on a beach of the sand? Yes, indeed. That's the sand dunes. And yes,
Located near the heart of Death Valley is the Mystique Flat Sand Dune. We're stopping by the store to use the restroom.
Sign, shirts and shoes required.
Looks like a souvenir place. Any t-shirts, anybody? Anyways, there was a long line to use the restroom. And from here, we drove and went to the sand dunes.
Death Valley has the highest temperature on Earth at 134 degrees. 120 degrees in July and August. The ground temperature can rise above 200 degrees. Rocks can become too hot to touch. Death Valley is the hottest place on Earth, driest place on Earth, and lowest point in North America at 200 feet below sea level. I was wrong, 282 feet below sea level. Average temperature 134 degrees. We are at Death Valley Sand Dunes. There are 14 square miles of sand dunes in Death Valley from here to here.
The sand dunes doesn't look very fluffy like the picture in the internet. I believe it's because it rained, so the sand dune is kind of hard looking. And unlike the beaches, the desert dunes doesn't need ocean. The sand is carried down from nearby mountains, broken down by erosion, then sculpted by wind into ripples, ridges, and towering crests that constantly change shape. Some sand dunes rise over 100 feet high, offering a good view across the Death Valley. Next stop, we are heading to the Devil's Golf Course, which is a vast field of jagged salt formations stretching as far as the eye can see.
We are here at the Devil's Golf Course, which is the Death Valley salt mine, which is the salt crystals.
It was really windy, and we decided not to walk the long stretch to go see the Devil's Golf Course. So I don't really know what it looks like, and it's kind of like it's wet, and I believe it's not rackety because it just rained. So I believe it looks like a little pond. We didn't walk to see the Devil's Golf Course, but here's a picture of what it's supposed to look like from the internet. Next up, we're going to see the salt flats of the Badwater Basin. And the weather is really nice. It's not too cold and not too hot, although it's very windy. And it's a little bit cloudy, and the cloud is covering the sun, half covering it.
I see people walking there.
Lowest point in this country or what?
I see people walking. We are at the Badwater Basin, which is 282 feet below sea level, and when you walk out there, you'll see the sea salt. But it has been raining, so we don't know if it's gonna have any sea salt. We'll go and see. Salt flats. Salt crystals. Salt crystals.
My kids found some salt crystals on the floor, and they're gonna attempt to try it.
That should be fairly clean.
absolutely salty. Woo, it's salty for sure.
这一针饭
That is really salty. That's salty for sure. People making the trek all the way out there to see the salt mine.
Thousands of years ago, the basin held lakes. As the water evaporated under the intense desert heat, dissolved minerals were left behind, slowly building thick layer of salt. Seasonal rain dissolved the surface, and as the water dries, salt recrystallizes into hexagonal patterns you see today. I think because it rained a lot and it flooded the area, there is no hexagonal patterns that I've seen. So it just looks all white on the floor. These geometric shapes aren't random. They form naturally as salt expands and contracts, creating one of the most striking natural designs in the desert. I think the designs are all gone because it rained, but the flooring looks just like snow, like it's covered with snow. Well, you can still see a little octagonal shapes on the floor, and it's really hard. It's hard to penetrate. I guess it's melted. Anyways, it's really windy out here, and we had lots of fun. The scenery is really beautiful, and the salt flat of Badwater Basin are a reminder of how powerful water can be, even after it's gone. A place shaped by evaporation, time, and extreme heat. This is the largest salt flat in United States. Because Death Valley has no outlet to the sea, the water could only leave one way, by evaporation. As the water evaporated, dissolved minerals such as sodium, chloride were left behind. This process repeated over thousands of years, gradually building thick salt deposits that can be several feet deep in some areas. The salt doesn't dry smoothly. As it hardens, it cracks into shapes that looks like honeycombs or puzzle pieces. These patterns form naturally and are always changing. Death Valley is one of the hottest places on Earth. It gets really little rain, and the strong sun quickly dries up any water that appears. The salt flats at Badwater Basin shows us how water, heat, and time can change the land. It's a strange, exciting place, and one of the most extreme environments on Earth. I think around this area, you could really see the shapes on the floor, which was not destroyed by the rain. And you could see some kind of shape on the floor.
deposits of iron, aluminum, magnesium, titanium, hematite, and chlorite. Oh, and Star Wars fans will be interested to learn this is where R2-D2 was abducted by Jawas in A New Hope, and the Jawa Sandcrawler, actually a miniature model, was located in these hills. Now do note that this road is not suitable for larger RVs or cars with trailers.
We're going on a artist drive.
Have you ever seen a mountain that looks like it was painted with all the colors of the rainbow? Well, welcome to the Artist Palette in Death Valley National Park. Artist Palette is on the west side of the park, along a road called Artist Drive. It's famous for the bright, colorful hills that looks like artists mixed paint right into the mountains. The colors come from different minerals in the rocks. Red and pink from iron, green from small amounts of copper, purple and lavender from manganese. Walking here feels like stepping into a painting. You can see the hills of soft yellow, rusty red, deep green, and purple all in one spot. It's one of the most colorful places in Death Valley, and the colors look even better in the late afternoon sunlight. Even though it looks like paint, nobody added anything here. The colors happen naturally. What is the best time of year to visit Death Valley National Park? Well, I think the best time to visit is around November through March. You'll get a gorgeous 70 Fahrenheit temperature, and if you come in the summer, you'll be looking at temperature that can soar past 120 Fahrenheit. At that point, your camera gear might overheat before you do. Make sure you have plenty of water. The air here is so dry you won't even realize you're sweating because it evaporates instantly. Carry at least 1 gallon per person per day. Also, GPS is really spotty here. So download your maps for offline use before you leave home. Bring a physical map. Your phone will become a paperweight once you get deep into the canyons.